here's a perfect example of why you need an oil cooler, an upgraded one. It's 94 degrees out, and I'm just cruising. There's my oil temp. That's just from cruising on the highway in the city. No like aggressive driving or anything. So we'll be putting an oil cooler on the car this weekend, but I just figured I'd show you guys, like, just driving normal, and the oil temp's at almost 220. It's like 210. So as long as it doesn't go past 220, like 230 at max, you're fine. But I just don't like it going past 200, to be honest. I like it staying at 180. So. Sweet.
It was fucking hot last night.
Apparently it's raining really hard and like most of the power went out in Katy.
Damn.
Shit, really? Fuck, I don't come this way anymore in my fucking yard. Hopefully I'm not gonna
lose any.
I mean, we'll lose a little bit, but hopefully not like I did the last time.
Flashback.
This one's really shooting off the
Woo! Still kind of weak.
They're not big batteries.
Dude, the first
5 minutes later.
God damn, somebody's so hot I can't even put hungry.
20 minutes later.
God.
Oh!
That is steaming, dude.
Yeah, pretty hot, dude.
End of flashback.
I smashed them down, but we're gonna find out here in a minute. We'll either be able to catch it all and reuse it, or it won't leak out much. That's what we lost in the cooler. Alright, we can, alright, let's cap those out.
You see how fast that FedEx man was going?
Said it's tired of looking at it. You can never get tired of looking at carbon. What is wrong with you?
I'm tired of looking at the sheets sitting down the bed.
Oh, yeah.
For now. cut the coolant line.
I want to cut one more piece and put right there.
Little rubber so this doesn't rub on that.
Alex, you hungry? I'm sure you're starving.
You already know.
Well, we're eating healthy tonight, right?
Yes.
Want to eat some bad for lunch?
Sure, what you want?
Well,
Little leak or big?
no, it's a little leak. It's the damn, you know how this one had those little bitty baby fittings on the sides?
Yeah.
They were, I tightened them down, but apparently they're, leaking.
$30 miles to the gallon. Cannot complain. 30 miles to the gallon. No cats. So this isn't even tuned yet. Update on the oil cooler. It's at 175, like 175, almost 170. So we're going 75 miles an hour, like the RPMs when they're like around 3,000, around 75 degrees or 175 degrees. But if I slow down to like 65, 60, the RPMs are around like 2,500 or less. The cooler goes down to like 165, 160. I still need more time with it, but this is in the rain, so I'll see how it does in the heat. But it hasn't really touched 180 unless I get on it a couple times, but it still hasn't touched it. So you don't want it at 160. I mean, 160 is okay. You do not want it below that, and it shouldn't go below that. Maybe in winter, but we'll see. But you want it at like where it is right now at 175. So all you got to do is just downshift, kind of hold the RPMs a little bit, and then you want your oil temp to be at least at 180, 185-ish, but at least at 180, because the car is going to actually be slower if your oil temp is below 180, and I can testify for that. I'll put the video on the screen, and my friend Jake, he's a subscriber, in his car, whenever we raced it, every other run, because he had a 25 row, which was, it's too aggressive for an NA car. For the NAZ, you don't want a 25 row, you want a 15 row. His was like at 160, like constantly staying at 160, and every time I would do a race, like the first time, the oil was too cold, so I would lose the first race, and then the second time I would race, when the oil temp was like at 180, the car would pull better. Some VQs like to run hot. Another one that was tuned, I'll put it on the screen, Trace, his likes to run at 200, like 200, 205, 210. That thing was like running better than what it did at like 180, 185. So some Z's run better when they're over 200 degrees. Some of them run better when they're under. My old Z, it liked to run under 200 degrees. It would run a lot harder and better when it was like at 180, 190. So I haven't figured out with this Z yet because I haven't messed with it enough. So we haven't raced this Z yet, so we'll see how this does. But that's just a little tip for you guys. Just make sure your oil is at 180 degrees before you race it, because it's not gonna pull that well. I mess around and see, your Z might like to run hot, because some of them do run better when they are hot. Cooler's doing perfect. That's exactly where I want it to be and where you should want it to be, right at 175, 170. We'll see how it does when it gets hotter out, because it's only like 75 degrees right now. But we'll see how it does when it gets hotter out, when it's like 95 degrees. It should probably run at like 190, 185. So we'll see how it goes. Little update. It's the next day. 90 degrees out. 240 miles with the oil cooler on. That's the oil temp. Been driving for like 30 minutes in stop and go traffic, or in stop and go, like red light, green light. So